Hello everyone, I'm Minu, the speaker of the today's session, and I, along with my team Pandav Applications, welcome you all on the Computational for Dynamics with Open Source Software webinar. I hope that we answer all your queries about the nitty-gritties of CFD and open source, and you have a fair idea about it. If you have any queries during the session, you can write all those queries in our comment box and our team will try to resolve the queries before the session ends. This webinar is specially organized because we were receiving immense number of requests from the universities like AMU, Sant Longwal universities to organize a webinar that give a review, a nitty-gritties about the software computational fluid dynamics and open source. Also, stay tuned with us till the end of the session because we have a very exciting news for you all that's coming on the way. So, let's start the session now. So, these logos that you can see on your screen, these needs no introduction, right? These are a part and parcel of your life. Now, let's say that one of your friend has sent you a very important study material and it's been 2 months now and it's your examination. You want to review that study material. What do? You scroll through your WhatsApp chats or go and check your emails for that particular file. You have got the file and your work is done there, right? But do you have any information that where all these data are stored? The answer to this question is data centers. So data centers are the physical locations which are being used by organizations and companies and social media that uses this place to store all the critical data as well as their applications. Now, these data centers can be as small as a single room within a building which is called a server room, or it can go up to multiple football fields. Now, nevertheless to say that these data centers are very important for the business. They keep us going, they keep us playing, they keep us storing the data and posting the content on Instagram and Facebook. But they are taking a huge toll on our environment. They are one of the reasons for increasing the carbon footprint. These data centers, it is estimated that a data centers that is as huge as multiple football fields uses about 100 terawatt of energy every hour, every year. And just imagine that these data centers work 24 hours a day and 365 days a year. So we can just have a review that the amount of energy that is being used by these data centers. European Union has sent out a mandate to convert these data centers into green data centers by the end of 2030 so that can have the minimal impact on our climate. Microsoft has tested its underwater pods and found them to be 8 times more efficient than the land data centers. Now here where we come into picture. We at Pandav Applications have identified the structural placement of HVAC system, that is heat, ventilation and air conditioning system in these data centers, and we have tried to model them. Here I will take an opportunity to introduce you all to the organization Pandav Applications. Our team does various consulting services, research and development services as well as academic programs. At present, we are consulting the major organizations. Also, we have our own in-house developed software which is catering to additive manufacturing. We also run an academic program where we try to educate more and more students community as well as the organizations about CFD and open source. Now, what's our vision? Pandav Applications aims to upgrade every company's technology to its cutting edge by making computational engineering an integral part of their workflow. So, this is our academic program, which is Pandav Application Advanced Academic Program, where we educate about CFD as well as open form with hands-on industrial experience. Here, I would like to introduce you all to my team, which are the core developers of CFD and who work extensively with the organization to become computational fluid dynamics as their core technology. Mr. Advait Gupta, our CEO, after completing his MS from Stanford University and gaining massive international experience, started the organization. At present, we have about 10 employees with us who are extensively working in the CFD field. Now, I am very much sure that this equation is not new to you. You must be knowing what this equation is. Obviously, it's a Navier-Stokes equation. But this equation was quite simple to solve until one day Mr. George Stokes decided to add the term viscous effects in this. And since then, this equation has become one of the 6 unsolved math problems of the world. The basis of CFD is rooted to the Navier-Stokes equation. Now, the solution of this equation requires the simultaneous consideration of mass, momentum as well as energy. Now, such problems are not capable of being solved analytically, and that gave the birth to computational fluid dynamics. Now, what do you imagine when I say CFD or computational fluid dynamics? Do you imagine some colorful images? What you imagine are some imaginary particles moving here and there with very colorful screens in front of you with red, black, white and different colors involved. But CFD goes a way beyond these images. What do you see in front of these are not a simple images, but these are actually the simulation of data centers which we have just discussed. The brown buildings that you can see in front of you are actually massive data centers which we have simulated in our computers. So just imagine the capability of CFD and try to see it beyond just the colorful images. So what goes beyond CFD is the mathematics, fluid mechanics, physics as well as the numerical analysis. Now, since I have given you a fair idea about the CFD, now let's see the flow of CFD. Now, we can divide the flow of CFD in 3 parts. We have pre-processing, the solving stage and then the post-processing stage. Now, I'll discuss the pre-processing stage first. Now, it is the very first stage of CFD simulation which can help you to define the parameters of simulation in an accurate way, right? So, what you do? You create a mathematical model. Also, we apply our boundary conditions as well as the different material properties which is according to our problem. So, what we can sum that what we do in the pre-processing stages, we upload our geometry, the CAD geometry, we create the simulation domain, we assign the simulation settings like initial and boundary conditions, material as well as the physical phenomena, and then we generate the mesh. Okay. So, how do we do this? We do this with the help of free CAD as well as Snappy Hex Mesh tool. So, this is a tool that is present in OpenFOAM that lets you mesh your geometry. Fine. So, now at this stage you have to define what your problem is and what it needs to be done. So, you have to apply everything that you need the problem to be solved. Then we come to the second stage, that is the solving stage. Now, this is where based on the conditions that you have given to your which you have defined, the solver works and it tries to generate the accurate results for you based on all the physics and models and conditions that are being provided to you. Now here comes the play of OpenFOAM. Now we'll be discussing OpenFOAM in the next few more slides. Before that, let's see at the last stage, that is the post-processing stage. Now this post-processing stage is very important because it is here where you analyze the results which are being generated by the solver. Okay. So what you do is you import the files, the result files from a solver, and then using a tool you create comprehensive results or comprehensive reports through model visualization as well as charts. So what we use here is a ParaView. It's also a tool which we use to generate our results, right? So let's now it's clear the fair idea that how the flow of CFD take place. You have to do the pre-processing, then you have to work with the solver which generates the results based on the conditions that are being provided by you, and then you analyze the results that are being produced, that are being generated by the solver, right? So now here comes up to the point where we need to discuss why open source. So from the beginning we have been talking that it's very why are we talking rigorously about the open source? Why we want to spread the idea of using OpenFOAM, open source, and why we want it to become an integral part of the organizations as well as the academic. Because open source sits head and shoulders above any other commercial software. Okay, so explaining you the open source in a very layman language, I call it free food and the free speech. So why free food? Because you can download it and install it on your computer and without any money. So it doesn't charge you anything or very low cost, and you can have it with you, right? Now why I call it a free speech? Because you can use it in various ways. You can even customize its scores according to your needs. Even though hundreds of solvers are available which covers the depth and the breadth of CFD, but still you can customize its software, you can customize its code according to your needs. You can customize it for any purpose that suits your needs, and you can even share that with your friends or the changes that you have made. So OpenFOAM has massive capabilities. You can write solver for single phase, for multiple phase, for isothermal flows, the flows which have heat exchanger, heat transfer, as well as fixed and moving boundaries. So to sum up the open source, we can give you the main 5 points. So the first is it's low cost and accurate because it do intense validations. Moreover, I like to give you data here that internationally there are more than 150 organizations that are currently using OpenFOAM into their organizations for R&D work and other work. So they have already been using this software. So large community and experts around the globe are relying on OpenFOAM. Then it's scalable on cloud for faster turnaround times. The code is customizable. You can do it according to your needs and exactly that matches your needs. And it has a state of art visualization. So I think I'm clear here that why we want to spread and we want to educate more and more people to use open source. Now, where does it comes into play in our academic program? In our academic program, we try to cover the theory that goes into CFD as well as OpenFOAM. We try to educate you about the solvers, that is the OpenFOAM, the software, how does the scientific computing take place, how can you analyze the data, as well as, and most importantly, we try to give you the hands-on industrial experience so that you can be job ready in future. So in short, we are covering everything in the CFD flow. We are covering the pre-processing stage, the solving stage, as well as the post-processing stage, right? Now let's go into why meshing. I have told you that meshing is a part of pre-processing stage and it is very important. So why meshing needs to be done? See, the computational softwares, they cannot solve the equations when it is directly applied to your geometry. because the geometry might be complex or there are certain irregularities in your geometry. So what do? We mesh them into small defined cells which are called the control volume, and then the governing equations can directly be applied on these small control volumes, and solver can easily simulate this. Okay. So this process where we convert the PDEs, the partial differentiations equations, into linear equation is called the discretization process. The higher the quality of mesh that you generate, the more accurate results can be obtained, right. So here you can see that we have given an example of a pipe where you can apply the boundary conditions, the inlet as well as outlet conditions, and based on how you discretize your system, you can have more and more accuracy for the system. You can generate more and more accurate system. So this is where the meshing plays a very important role. Now here are a few examples where you can see that how meshing is done for airplane, for ballistic missile as well as for the battery system. So it is an 8 battery system. So how we have done the meshing of this? This is done at our company. This we have simulated these. Now since I am in talking about CFD, now you must be wondering that how it is going to help us. Obviously the people who are joining us today might be from different backgrounds. These might be from mechanical, chemical, aerospace and all. So you might be wondering that how, if we learn CFD, how it is going to help us. What are the advantages that we can avail when we learn CFD and OpenFOAM. So if we look into mechanical engineering, there are many industries that are at presently using the advantages of CFD to their organizations, to their technology. The examples here are shown is that of our data centers, battery thermal management as well as NASIL. Now if any one of you joining us today is from Gujarat and or ever have been to Gujarat, they might be aware that Adani has installed wind turbines there. And these wind turbines, I tell you, are even taller than the Statue of Unity. Okay? And these wind turbines are at present generating 5.2 megawatts of electricity, and this electricity is helping to light up to 4,000 homes. So the nacelle that we have simulated, it is the heart of the wind turbine. It is where the kinetic energy is converted into the mechanical energy that actually produces the electricity. Pandav Applications has put together a case study of the thermal management of nacelle overcoming the geometric complexities. You can also help in the HVAC of the car seat, because it's very important to manage the thermal generation that happens in our cars, because it can prove fatal to a human and cause suffocation. So we try to simulate the thermal management that goes in the car seat. Electric vehicles are a boom these days. They are getting tremendous attention. So we have tried to model the thermal management system of of electric vehicles. Now why it is important to simulate the thermal system of electric vehicles? Because there is thermal generation, then there become hot zones, and these can decrease the performance of the battery, and they can be fatal to the human life also. So it's very important to simulate this. So through CFD you can simulate the thermal management systems of our electric vehicles. Now let's look into the aspect of chemical engineering, how CFD plays an important role in chemical engineering. Now chemical engineering is a major user of CFD. Chemical processes are all about separation, boiling, condensation, mixing with unit operations. So there are large amount of unit operations or the separation technologies where we can use our CFD to generate, to get some better performance of our systems. Now for examples, on the left hand corner you can see the fluidized beds, right. So the fluidized beds is a key mechanism that is being used today in any oil and gas industry. It is where the solids sometimes behave as a fluid in certain specific size ranges, right? So we need to model its hydrodynamic behavior. So when we do the simulation of a fluidization process, we can reveal the real-time complexities that occur at a very high operating conditions. Also, you can see a CSTR, which is continuous stirred tank reactor. Now these can work at a very small as well as very large scale. And why we need it? We need it for the uniform composition, when we require some uniform composition. Now to simulate it, it's little bit complex because we have a rotating impeller in it. So dynamic meshing is required. Now we Pandav application expertise to handle such complex systems. So what we do through simulation, we try to design the parameters that gives, and we try to optimize the parameters to give us better performances, and that can reduce the dead zones that take place in CSTR. Similarly, we can use the benefits of CFD in the porous medium boiling and condensation process, and also for the centrifugal separator, that you can see the image at the right hand side, the centrifugal separator where the solid particles are separated from the fluid, which can be a gas or a liquid, and we can increase the efficiency of our cyclone, right. So it's being used intensively used in industries nowadays. So through the use of CFD, we can increase its accuracy, increase its overall efficiency by optimizing the parameters, design parameters as well as the velocity, right. So now let's move on to the applications of aerospace engineering. So it's being said that traditionally the aerospace engineering is the foremost user of CFD. Okay. So I like to tell you that recently Russia military has said that they have used hypersonic ballistic missiles for the conflict between the Ukraine. So what are these supersonic missiles? These are the missiles with a maneuverable warhead which is traveling at a very high speed. You can say supersonic speed. So through simulations, we try to simulate these supersonic ballistics. Also, you must be very much aware about the term drones. Okay, they are on a boom. The drones are on a boom everywhere. The drone market is expected to reach about 500 billions by 2028, and it is expected that they will cross a CAGR of 50% by 2028. So where does drone come into play? So drone performance depends upon many factors which require the design simulation to evaluate the behavior and performance under actual conditions. So what we can do through our simulation, we can evaluate the flow, structure and the thermal management, also the thrust and the lift calculations of the drone, right. Now we will come and see the applications of CFD in civil engineering. Now in civil engineering, we can use the CFD in dam break, tailings, then multiple cascading drop shafts, biochemical reactions, and also in the wastewater treatment. Now what is dam break? Now routing is used to demonstrate how a reservoir will affect the volume of water downstream when there are conditions like flood or storm, so that we can reduce or we can avoid the loss of property and as well as the human. So we have Pandav Applications has modeled the tallest concrete gravity dam in the world, which is in Arunachal Pradesh. So we have demonstrated how the reservoir will affect the volume of water downstream. Now tailings are actually the mine waste which contains a lot of effluents and harmful products in it. So we try to navigate the flow into the places which are far from the human civilizations. Now these tailings are non-homogeneous. So many researchers and scientists have suggested that if we dewater these tailings streams, we can produce a homogeneous and non-segregated thickened form. Okay, so we can work at this forefront to prevent any catastrophic prevention of geological structure and propose a design to control this dam. So we try to reduce any of the mishappenings because of these tradings, and through simulations we try to design the dams so that they can have the minimum effect on the nature as well as the human life. Similarly, we have this on the very right hand, you can see the multi-phase cascading drop shaft. Okay, so the drop shafts are used to reduce the kinetic energy of water so that they can have the minimal impact on the underneath structures. So what we do is we try to limit the drop height of between the baffles to keep the velocities low. Okay, so these are some of the places where CFD is being used extensively by the industries to design the systems, to design new system, and even to protect the human life and civilizations. Now this brings us to tell you about our module which we have included in our academic program. So PA3P, which is our academic program of Pandav applications, we have divided our modules into different hours. So we have 10 hours, 20 hours as well as 30 hours module. So if you have the choice of selecting any of the modules according to your needs, but in each of the modules we try to cover all the aspects of the flow of CFD. So we try to cover the pre-processing, the solving as well as the post-processing in all of these modules. It's just we dive deeper when you go for 30 hours module. So we'll give you a more insight that what goes just beyond the solving. So in a 10 hours module, we help you in installing the operating system. We give you detailed about the mashing, the structured, unstructured, graded as well as the mesh refinement. We have divided actually the 10 hours, 20 hours into different days. So every day we take a 4 to 5 hour workshop. So in the day 2, for the 10 hours in the day 2, we cover the CAD geometry as well as the advanced post processing. Now, if you go for 20 hours module, we have we along with the CFD theory and scientific computing, we also give you an industrial case study where you have an insight of the actual processes that goes in the industry. Since I've already told you that we have a team who are extensively working with the organizations to help them include computational flow dynamics into the system. So these are the only people who are actually going to educate you. So they have the real time experience of how the industries work, and through their experience they try to pass on that knowledge to you, so there you can be industry ready. Okay, so when you go into 30 hours, we in addition to all that we cover in 10 hours and 20 hours, we also cover grid independence, code customization, so that how can you customize the code according to your needs. Okay, and also we give you a detailed and complex case study where we tell you about all the physics that is involved in any case or in any problem, like the reaction kinetics, the multi-phase flows and high Mach numbers. So you have a choice of selecting whatever course that you want to go, whichever module you have to go according to your needs. So industrial case studies that we try to cover in our academic program are external aerodynamics, multi-phase modeling as well as thermal management. Now, external dynamics, aerodynamics is what the drone is, and I have already told you the numbers that how the industry of the drones is booming. Then similarly for thermal management, the EVs are on a boom these days. So it's a buzzword because it is saving the climate. So a lot of industries are relying on the thermal management of EV. And so we give you a case study and we assist you in solving these case studies so that you can have a fair idea that how the organizations using CFD try to solve the problems, the today's real life problems. Okay. So now since we are talking about CFD, it's very important to talk it in terms of the market that we are going to see in the coming few years till 2025. So it's been expected that the CFD markets is expected to grow at a rate of 5.33%. Okay, the incremental growth is about $606.76 million, right? And here we are talking about the Europe, that about uh, growth that is contributed by Europe itself is about 37% for the growth of CFD markets. Here we are only talking about the high revenue countries or continents. There are smaller continents who are extensively working on CFDs in open form, and they are trying to solve the real time problems today. Now CFD has become an integral part of any of the industries. They have become a uh, core R&D team are relying extensively on CFD to solve their problems. Batteries, EVs, everywhere, to drone systems, all these industries that are on a boom use their CFD to solve the problems. And there are a lot of people who are heavily relying on open source than in comparison to commercial software. Okay, the reason have already been explained, that these are low cost and they gave you the accessibility, they gave you that advantage to customize the code according to your needs, according to your problem. Even though there are more than 100 solvers that are present in open form, but still you can customize the code according to you and solve your problems. So now let me give you a fair idea that why we want that you should choose us. We have industry ready program. So once you choose us and the programs that we have designed for you, it gives you a competitive edge over the others, right? So once you have gone through our program, you have a fair understanding of CFD, open phone and everything, the pre-processing, the solving stage as well as the post-processing stage. Your resumes are directly not going into the spam folders of the recruiters. They are definitely going to be selected. We have passionate and experienced trainers with us. These are the trainers who are actually at the present working with industries, solving their problems, giving them consultations. So they have the idea that how the industries are working. They have the what problems the industries are facing, and with that experience, they pass on that knowledge to you. We already have stellar stories with us where we have organized the programs and the people are really happy with the knowledge that they have gained once they have enrolled in our programs. Our programs are not only at the national, but we have gone international into our programs. At present we have conducted our workshops in more than 2 to 3 international organizations. We just don't talk about the theory, we do the practical and we apply it. We apply the concepts practically. Okay, and most importantly, we are using a sustainable as well as a comprehensive CFD simulation. So the current training programs that we are conducting are in IIT. We have conducted in IIT Madras. So for the 2 years consecutively, we are conducting our this program in IIT Madras. We have also conducted in Utah Valley, and not only the academic programs, but we have also run our workshops in many organizations as well. So here you can see the testimony where we have actually run our program. We have run our program in IIT Madras. We are consecutively running for the past 2 years and also in the Utah Valley. So you can have a fair understanding that we are actually working to highly educate the students community today about the CFD, about its applications in various streams and how you can utilize the knowledge of CFD in gaining a job. Okay, so once we conduct our program, academic program, we ask for reviews from the people. How did they find the content? Was it relevant for them, and were their doubts clear? And we have received great amount of reviews from the people who have actually gone through our program. So the results are in front of you. The people have actually liked the workshop and they have even given us a thumbs up for this, that the workshop was worth the amount that they have spent on a workshop, right? So the quality of the content was actually that they were satisfied with the amount that they have spent on it. The whole range of understanding, we try to give a wholesome knowledge of CFD and open form. So the overall satisfaction level was very high. So we try to solve the problems, each and every problems that they faces during the installation through any of the stage of the program. The trainers, our trainers are already are the ones who are actually working with the organizations, right? So they have that expertise, they have that knowledge that what are the problems that are being faced in the industry, yeah, or what knowledge is required to work in any of the industries. So the quality of the content that we add into our program is extensively. It will give you a deep dive knowledge of everything that you need to work on CFD with. So now here we come to a part where we had a very exciting news for you. So Pandav Applications is organizing an international simulation Olympiad where we are giving you a chance to participate in groups, and you have a chance to win the amount as big as USD $1,000, right? So here we are giving a chance to all the people who are interested in simulation to participate in this Olympiad, where we will be grading you on a 8-pointer scale. Now these are the points which we actually cover during our academic program. So we'll be grading you on your presentation skills and on how clean your geometry was, how neatly the meshing was done, the choice whether it was structured as well as unstructured grid, the physics and the conditions that were applied to generate the results. Discretization, how was the discretization done with consistency as well as the stability. How accurately were you able to generate the results from the data that is being provided by the solvent, and the performance of the machine, also as the accuracy. So we will be giving you a problem which is industry related, and we'll give you a chance to solve that problem on your own based on the knowledge that you have gained during our workshop. And then you have a chance to win massive amount. Also the last date of registration is 15th of March. So I request, we have already received a large amount of registrations till now, and the Olympiad is not only national, it has gone international. All those who have registered with us for our academic program, we have waived the registration fees for them, so they can register for the Olympiad free of cost. You can go on our website and check out the details for the simulation Olympiad, and I assure you it's a great opportunity. Moreover, we would be sending out you the participation certificates at the end of the when we close our simulation Olympiad. So obviously you can have a competitive edge over others when you show this that you have participated in the International Simulation Olympiad, right? So now what are the avenues that we at Pandav Applications provide for you? The first and foremost, that you can learn CFD and OpenFOAM and become an expert through our academic program. We provide an institute-wide specific CFD training with PA3P. Also, if any person who is going through their PhDs or through their research work, if they need any assistance in their computational, they can contact us. We help the people to do their research. Also, if you want to collaborate with us for the experimental results, with our we can help them to analyze the results through our modeling expertise. Also, as I have told you that we have our in-house software which we have done, which we have developed specifically for 3D printing. So we give you a chance to get trained specifically in AM Prava, our software, and we also provide you a free license for a few months period of time so that you can have an extensive knowledge on 3D printing. So we have a few upcoming events which are being lined up in March as well as in April. So we are going to organize this very important academic program, which is CFD with open form hands-on industrial training in March as well as in April. The registrations for these have already been started. So you can just go and enroll yourself. You can visit our website. You can even write to us at support@pandav.com if you have any queries related to our academic programs or even the CFD. We also have an AM Prabha workshop which is being lined up, which will educate you about 3D printing, about additive manufacturing, and we are soon going to roll out the registrations for it. We have also planned a few upcoming webinars which will be specifically for data centers, EVs, wastewater treatment, drones, rotating turbo machinery, ocean technology, as well as the general webinar, more such general webinars. So that you can have a fair idea that how you can apply the knowledge that you have gained in our workshop, in our industrial program. You can apply those knowledges into the current industry which are booming. We also collaborate with the industries to give training to their students. So the people who are working with the universities and who are responsible for organizing such events or some such industrial training, so we collaborate with such universities. If you have any queries, so you can just visit our website, write to us at support@pandav.com. You can have a phone number. You can take a screenshot of a number. You can even reach out to WhatsApp and ask your queries over here. We're also available on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, as well as on YouTube. We are there to answer all your queries related to that session. So here I am wrapping up the session. I hope that you have gained an extensive knowledge about CFD and OpenFOAM and how it is going to help you in future and make you job ready, so that your resumes are the ones which are being selected just by adding the term that you have that accurate knowledge of industries which is being related to CFD and OpenFOAM. So I'll just wait so that all of your queries are being answered. I'll just wait for 2 more minutes so that if you have any queries, if you those queries are being answered, and then I'm going to close the session. But still you can contact us. You can visit our website. You can write to us at support@pandav.com, and also you can visit our LinkedIn page and get connected. Thank you very much. So just go on and ask your queries that you have regarding the session or anything that you would like to ask from us. So I hope all your queries are answered, and thank you for joining us in today. On behalf of my team, thank you all for joining us, and we hope to solve your queries furthermore, and do contact us through our LinkedIn page or visit our website. And not to mention, do register yourself for the simulation Olympiad before 15th of March. Thank you very much.